Have you ever wondered what it takes to become a legend? To have your name echo through millennia, synonymous with power, intelligence, and allure? Today, we're journeying back over 2,000 years to the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt to uncover the story of its last and perhaps most famous pharaoh. This isn't just a tale of pyramids and sphinxes. It's the gripping saga of a young woman who outsmarted empires and bent the most powerful men in the world to her will. This is the rise of Cleopatra VII. Born in 69 BC, Cleopatra was not, as many believe, of pure Egyptian descent. She was a Ptolemy, a member of a Macedonian Greek dynasty that had ruled Egypt since the death of Alexander the Great. From the very beginning, her world was one of opulence, but also of intense political intrigue and danger. The Ptolemaic court was notorious for its family rivalries, where siblings often schemed against one another for the throne. It was a brutal environment, but it forged Cleopatra into a keen political strategist. Unlike her predecessors, who often remained distant from their Egyptian subjects, Cleopatra did something revolutionary. She learned the Egyptian language. This was a masterstroke, allowing her to connect with her people on a level her family never had. She also spoke numerous other languages, including Greek, Parthian, and Latin, making her a formidable diplomat. She wasn't just a pretty face. She was one of the most educated women of her era, skilled in mathematics, philosophy, and astronomy. This intellectual prowess would become her greatest weapon in the turbulent times ahead. Her story truly ignites when her father, Ptolemy XII, passed away. He left the throne jointly to 10-year-old Cleopatra and her even younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. As was customary, they were married to rule together. But this was no fairy tale union. Powerful court officials, seeing an opportunity to control the young king, quickly conspired against the ambitious and brilliant Cleopatra. They saw her as a threat to their own power and successfully drove her out of Alexandria, forcing her into exile in Syria. For many, this would have been the end. But for Cleopatra, it was merely the beginning of her fight back. Alone and stripped of her royal authority, she didn't despair. Instead, she raised her own mercenary army, preparing to reclaim what was rightfully hers. She was a queen in exile, but her spirit was far from broken. She was waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect ally, to make her move. And that moment arrived with the sails of a Roman fleet on the horizon. At this time, Rome was the world's superpower, and its internal politics were shaking the foundations of the Mediterranean. Two of its most powerful generals, Pompey the Great and Julius Caesar, were locked in a bitter civil war. After a devastating defeat, Pompey fled to Egypt seeking refuge. The advisors to the young King Ptolemy, in a disastrously short-sighted move, decided to assassinate Pompey, hoping to curry favor with the victorious Caesar. They presented Pompey's head to Caesar upon his arrival in Alexandria, but their plan backfired spectacularly. Caesar was horrified and angered by the murder of a Roman consul. He saw the weakness and treachery of the boy king's court and decided to settle the dispute over the Egyptian throne himself. This was the opening Cleopatra had been waiting for. She knew a direct approach to Caesar was impossible, as her brother's forces controlled the palace. So she devised one of history's most audacious and legendary entrances. According to the historian Plutarch, she had herself wrapped in a carpet, some sources say a bedding sack, and smuggled past the enemy guards, delivered directly to Julius Caesar's private chambers. Imagine the scene, the most powerful man in the world, unrolling a carpet, only to have the exiled Queen of Egypt emerge, brilliant, bold, and ready to plead her case. Caesar, a man who appreciated audacity and intelligence, was utterly captivated. He was 52, a seasoned general and politician. She was just 21, but her charisma, intellect, and sheer nerve were undeniable. She didn't just ask for his help. She presented herself as a valuable and stable ally who could secure Egypt and its vast wealth for Rome. Caesar agreed to support her claim. What followed was the siege of Alexandria, a brief but intense conflict within the city itself. Caesar's veteran legions, fighting alongside Cleopatra's loyalists, ultimately defeated her brother's forces. Ptolemy XIII drowned in the Nile while trying to escape, leaving Cleopatra as the undisputed ruler of Egypt. To solidify her reign, Caesar had her marry her youngest brother, Ptolemy XIV, but this was a mere formality. The real power now lay solely with Cleopatra. With her throne secure thanks to Roman might, Cleopatra's relationship with Caesar deepened. It was a partnership of both heart and mind. She gave him a son, Ptolemy Caesar, nicknamed Caesarion, or Little Caesar. This child was hugely significant. He represented the potential union of Rome and Egypt, a dynasty that could one day rule the known world. Cleopatra and Caesarion later traveled to Rome, where she was housed in one of Caesar's grand villas. Her presence caused quite a stir in Roman society. Romans were both fascinated and scandalized by this powerful foreign queen. She was a living symbol of the Hellenistic East's luxury and sophistication, which many conservative Romans viewed with suspicion. But her influence was undeniable. Caesar even erected a golden statue of her in the temple of Venus Genetrix, an unprecedented honor for a foreign monarch. She was more than just a mistress. She was his intellectual equal and a key political partner, advising him on matters of state. Their vision was a grand one, a new world order with Alexandria as its eastern capital, blending Roman power with Greek culture. However, this grand vision was shattered on the Ides of March, 44 BC. Julius Caesar was assassinated by a group of senators who feared his ambition. His death threw the Roman world into chaos once again and placed Cleopatra in a perilous position. Her Roman protector was gone. With Rome descending into another civil war, she quickly returned to Egypt. Her priority was to protect her kingdom and her son Caesarion, whom she now promoted as her co-ruler. She had her younger brother-husband, Ptolemy XIV, conveniently removed from the picture, ensuring her son's path to the throne was clear. She played a careful waiting game, observing the power struggles in Rome from afar. The empire was now divided between Caesar's heir Octavian and his most trusted general Mark Antony. Cleopatra knew she would eventually have to choose a side, and once again she would use her legendary charm and political acumen to secure an alliance with the new most powerful man in the East. Her second great romance began when Mark Antony summoned her to Tarsus, in modern-day Turkey, to answer for her ambiguous role during the Civil War. Antony needed Egypt's money and resources to fund his planned invasion of Parthia. Cleopatra, knowing full well what was at stake, decided to make an entrance even more spectacular than her carpet debut. She sailed up the river Cydnus in a magnificent golden barge with purple sails and silver oars. She was dressed as the goddess Aphrodite, surrounded by attendants disguised as cupids and nymphs. The scent of perfumes wafted to the shore, and the entire city of Tarsus emptied to witness the spectacle. Antony, who saw himself as the embodiment of the god Dionysus, was left waiting alone in the marketplace. He was completely enchanted. That night, she invited him to a banquet of unparalleled splendor, showcasing the immense wealth of Egypt. She had once again captured the heart of a Roman leader. Their connection was immediate and intense. Antony followed her back to Alexandria, where they spent a winter of legendary indulgence. But just like her relationship with Caesar, this was more than just a love affair. It was a powerful political and military alliance. Together, they dreamed of a new Eastern Empire, one that would rival Octavian's power in Rome. This alliance would set the stage for the final dramatic chapter of her life and the end of Egypt's independence. And that's where we'll pause for today. The story of Cleopatra's rise is a masterclass in determination, intellect, and political maneuvering. She was a woman who refused to be a pawn in a man's world, using every tool at her disposal to claim and hold on to power. What do you find most impressive about her early life? Let me know in the comments below. In our next video, we'll explore her legendary partnership with Mark Antony, their fateful clash with Octavian, and the tragic, yet iconic, end to her reign. If you enjoyed this journey into the ancient world, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the conclusion to this incredible story. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.